Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I wanted to talk about several issues. I'm going to try to make this short because the last couple of my videos have been pretty long. So anyway, I'm going to get right to it. You realize, of course, that you have a congressman right now, Lindsey Graham, who is working on legislation to codify indefinite detention. You have a Supreme Court nominee, Kagan, who in the past has expressed the idea that indefinite detention for some people is perfectly fine by her. Not to mention the fact that she has also said that government should determine what it is you're thinking whenever you say something. And if it's a bad thing you're thinking, then you shouldn't be able to say that. The government should say you can't say that if the end result is something good according to government standards. So in other words, here we have a nominee to the Supreme Court who is anti-free speech, who is affiliated with Goldman Sachs, who believes in indefinite detention. And we have a senator right now, or a congressman right now, writing laws to codify this whole thing so that you can be put somewhere, secret, and kept there indefinitely for something that you might possibly do at some point in the nebulous future. Does that sound like the United States to you? How about this one? How about S.3081, the Enemy, Belligerent, and Interrogation Act, brought to you by a couple of senators, that would systematically strip every right of people that are designated as terrorists, whatever. I don't even know all the classifications they would put these people under, but it would, by law, remove them from every possible legal recourse, creating non-persons. Does this sound like the United States to you? Does it sound a little bit more like Stalinist Russia, perhaps? The USSR in the height of the pogroms? I think so. I think so. And there are people that are behind these things, that are pushing for them, that think these are answers to problems. And there are a lot of people who just don't give a damn. I do not want to sit by and wait for them to come and smash my door in and take me away, or take some of my family away, or take away my property or my rights, or throw me into some dank hole indefinitely, because I might, maybe, possibly do something at some future nebulous date that cannot be defined. I choose to fight now. Kagan has got to go. We have to oppose her. We have to make our voice heard. If it doesn't work, if we don't get what we want, if it comes to something more, then be ready for that. But we have to do what we can now. We can't just sit idly by and let them march up to your door. It wouldn't be strategically wise, even from a military point of view. We have to try to protect what rights we can. You know, they already have a system within the Bureau of Prisons in this country already called communication management units. And people are kept in these where they're monitored 24 hours a day. They are kept on a very strict and rigid communication schedule. Everything is monitored. All interaction with outside world is monitored. The number of visits, number of letters, number of phone calls that these people are allowed to make is drastically reduced from what is available to the normal prison population. And a lot of the people that are kept in these CMUs, these communication management units, are in fact political prisoners. They have some political thing behind why they're in prison. And I suspect that a lot of them are there because of what they might do. Might possibly do something. Yeah. Well, what might you do? In one day, how many times do you think about doing something that's against the law? If everybody in this country were to be locked up for what we might do because we thought about doing something, because we even might have mentally planned it out, is such an atrocious violation of civil liberties and personal privacy. And it's a complete abrogation of the rule of law that we live under in this country. It makes me sick. It really does. That anybody would sit idly by and let these things happen. It really does. And at the same time you have the assault on our civil liberties, you also have an assault in the economic area as well. Full out economic warfare being waged against us by huge megabanks. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department and all of the other alphabet soup agencies that are supposed to regulate all of this. And anytime anything is done with an effort to try to address some of the systemic problems, it's always watered down and rendered useless. Much like the Audit the Fed bill. And a lot of times, most of the time anymore, because the schedule is crammed, it's crammed, everything's got to be push, because there's time is short. We have a small window of opportunity. Talking from the elite's perspective. So everything has to be boom, 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 boom. That gives us an opportunity because there's a lot of things happening. We can work together apart to try to derail any one of these little schemes. Because where we can knock them back a little bit, it might throw them off a little bit. We might achieve some small measure of victory. We might prevent the end result from coming about. That's why it's important to fight. That's why we have to stay focused. That's why we have to look at some of the issues that are happening right now and that we have to take concrete steps to address them. And I agree with a lot of you that political activism is really, really depressing right now because we do not have anything, we don't have any real big gains. But you know what? When people really do come together and really do throw the weight of the force of their mind and the force of their humanity behind a particular issue, the elites will notice because they are afraid of the mass of us. They really are. One last thing. Supreme Court ruled that sexually dangerous people can be held indefinitely, even after serving their full term in prison, if they're deemed to be sexually dangerous even after serving their term in jail. Well, what's the point of even having court then? Just take those people, lock them away somewhere forever. It's real easy to say, well, I don't give a damn about them. They're sexual perverts. Look at them. They're rapists, they're child molesters, etc. The recidivist rate is really high. They're probably going to end up doing the same thing again if they're let out of prison, whatever. All those arguments are easy to make. And of course, it's real easy to say, well, I don't care about them. But you have to care about them. And you have to care about this. This is a major issue. This is a huge thing. It completely strips away the entire idea of a court and a so-called justice system. Because the court makes its decision. The jury makes its finding. You're sentenced to some form of imprisonment. You serve out your term, and then when you're supposedly done, you're kept in prison. Maybe forever. Because of something you might do. Do you understand what this really means? Can you grasp that concept and how important it is? And Kagan is right along with this. And you're going to see this applied to less heinous crimes as time goes on. You can guarantee it. Till eventually every possible action you might possibly do in any possible future will deem you as a possible terrorist and mandate your indefinite detention. That's where it's going, people. Thank you. Good night.